I created a pathway of my journey because I also, when I was in my doldrums, didn't know where to go, didn't know who to talk to about this, right? Because this retirement, you're supposed to be having fun,
Right.
and if you're not, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Right?
Hello, this is Matt Helton with OneTrust Home Loans, your reverse mortgage experts, and you found the Serving Seniors podcast, where we highlight businesses and professionals that help seniors thrive in retirement. Today, we have another one of those awesome people. We have Mr. George Jerjian, and he is an author, he's a speaker, and he's a mindset coach, and he created the DARE method. And he's going to share with us how that, as well as some of his other books, help serve seniors. How are you doing, George?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Matt, for having me on.
Thank you for being here. And as we can all hear from your accent, I'm pretty sure you're from Kentucky. Is that right? Or am I off a little bit?
Very close.
Okay.
State next door, the United Kingdom.
That is great. Yeah, George just said that it's evening time there. So please thank him for being on the podcast. Follow him, connect with him, because it is after hours in the UK, but he wanted to spend some time with us. So thank you for working us in, George.
Delighted to be here.
Yep. Well, we appreciate you, sir. And if you could just do us a favor, I always like to kind of get the background, I kind of call it the coming up story, like where you're from, what you've done in the past, and what kind of led you here today. So maybe give us some background if you could.
That's a tough question, but I'm going to try and sort of simplify it in 2 minutes. I've been a financial advisor for 5 years, some 2 decades earlier.
Okay.
I've been in commercial real estate. I've worked with commercial real estate with a partner in New Jersey for 35 years until I sold and focused on my work that I do now, which is helping retirees to find a new beginning.
Okay.
And that all kicked off back in 2007 when I was aged 52, diagnosed with a bone tumor and given 6 months to live.
Mm.
That changes the way you think. That changes your life. And so, and I'm a slow learner. So it took a while for me to readjust to this new reality. I was lucky because my diagnosis wasn't wrong so much. I just was in the lucky 2% that.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. So the diagnosis was right, but I just happened to belong to the 2% that are not malignant, and it's localized. So in terms of cancer.
Okay.
And so that kind of I've been on bonus time since then. And it made me reassess my whole life, what I'm doing with it, and recognizing that I want to do something that excites me and also helps people.
Wow.
What else would you be doing anything, right?
Sure.
I think once you have a rendezvous with death, it's never about accumulating money for the sake of accumulation.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong. I still like money. Money's good, but it's just how you go about it.
Sure.
And in a sense, on the back of that, I went to study about mindset with the success coach, Bob Proctor. He passed away a few years ago, but, when you're sort of at the age of 62 and you suddenly decide you want to go into a new pathway, it's not often that you find somebody older than you that can be a mentor. But I was fortunate enough to find that in him. Okay. And so now I hope to be the mentor to a lot of people retiring, because retirement is no country for old people. Let me tell you. And I not only experienced it myself because I was semi-retired after my illness for 10 years, and I was doing things in my own pace. And I found that after the honeymoon period, everything goes south.
Got it.
I did lots of reading, studying about the history of retirement, why it's there. And I also surveyed over 21,000 people in the English-speaking world to to tell me what their challenges were in retirement. And having done that, I discovered when I heard Henry Ford, the founder of Ford Motor Company, who once said, if I'd asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. That was my aha moment. Okay. I realized that I'd asked people what they thought, and they told me. And it was genuine. It was good research, good market research. But the reality was, like, an engineer ticks all the boxes, but then realized there's something missing here. I'm missing something. That's what I felt after I'd done that study. You know, and for a researcher to admit that, that's really big. Sure. Let me tell you.
Sure.
But I realized that what I'd got was very good, but it wasn't the whole picture, because people don't know what they don't know. And on the back of that, I did some more research and discovered the what's the word for it? The first casualty of retirement is identity.
Okay.
Who am I? Now that I don't have a job title, now that I don't have all the success and achievements and the cups and the glory, who am I now, stripped of that? And that's when I realized that retirement really is busted in the traditional sense. But what retirement is doing is knocking on our door and giving us that last chance saloon, the last bell before, last drinks. It's your last chance to do something really meaningful in your life. And so it's not about filling time. It's about fulfilling yourself, right? Instead of doing what you want, when you want, how you want, it's about finding a new purpose, a new identity, something that's meaningful for you. And that's what I help people. I'm not the one telling people what they should be doing. The answer lies within each of us, right? But we tend to look outside for answers instead of going within. And I like to think that I inspire people to have the courage, and that's why I have my DARE program, to have the courage to give themselves the opportunity to discover their real essence, the real them. And that's what my DARE program is about.
Wow, that's awesome. And I like about what you said. You're on bonus time, and then you figured out that retirement is to allow you to accomplish something big. So tying that all together, it sounds like in your bonus time, hopefully we can all learn from your near-death experience and go accomplish something good, which is helping other people and not have to go through that ourselves. So that's awesome that you're trying to help us do that.
I'm just essentially saving people a lot of time.
Yep.
And I was fortunate because COVID came along and gave me that sort of 2-year window to do the work that I did, to create the course, to create, the recordings. So whilst everybody was tearing their hair out during the pandemic, I was getting my teeth into this. And so, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. And I think everybody has their own journey, and it's about finding that golden nugget that rests with everybody. And it doesn't matter whether you're a janitor or a CEO.
Wow.
It's the same story. It's about significance. It's about meaning. And every one of us has it.
Wow. That's awesome. That is so cool. Well, tell me a little bit about once you came up with the idea, and then who it's for, and then how we can help you get your message out.
All right. That's a lot of questions. I'll try and answer all 3 of them. Okay. Sure. So first, how this came about. I created a pathway of my journey because I also, when I was in my doldrums, didn't know where to go, didn't know who to talk to about this, right? Because this retirement, you're supposed to be having fun. Right. And if you're not, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Right? And I went on a 30-day silent retreat to discover who I am, away from all the noise, all the inner dialogues. And so, and in that space, I did an exercise, which was an audit on my life. And one of the exercises was to go into my, into the homes I'd lived in when I was young, all the way through to now, and look at the times where, good things happened to me and not so good things. And so I'm a writer, so I wrote everything down in my journal and had lots of time to go back, look over it, study it. And it occurred to me, I know it may sound obvious, but it wasn't obvious to me then, was that none of the opportunities would have come to me without the preceding crisis. So crises are important for us. They're not something, but we normally hate crises. We don't want crises and we don't want drama. But I think crises are a gift in a sense. Even bad crises are a gift because it can either sort of sink us or force us to swim. Right?
Yeah.
And I recognized that it was a constant forcing me, pushing me, goading me to move forward. Whereas I was quite comfortable staying in my comfort zone. Don't push me. I don't want to go anywhere. Which is kind of like the human condition, really. So I took that and put it into this exercise because I learned from that. And so what I did was, as I went through, I would monitor what I was doing, what was happening, the challenges. And from that, I created a course, which included all the studies I'd done about mindset, about neuroscience, about neuroplasticity of the mind. How do you change your mind? How do you change who you are after years of being somebody else?
That makes sense.
Right? We think that's odd. That's weird. This is who I am. Who am I? Right. Challenging situation. But I did this. I prepared the course. And then I thought I needed to make a course that's easy to explain, easy to sell, easy for people to download and understand it. And I had a very wonderful marketing lady who was able to create the DARE word to cover it as an umbrella. And DARE encompasses the word courage. It's another word for courage. And it's also an acronym for discover, assimilate, rewire, expand.
Wow.
It's the process, right? And it's 8 modules, and there's 2 modules for each letter. Just very quickly, discover what retirement is and what it's not. Assimilate is about assimilate a new understanding of how our mind works, including our subconscious mind. Nobody teaches this at school. Nobody. I learned this in my late life about the power of the unconscious mind that we don't harness. But it's, we're trained. I think it was, the idea that the whole concept of schooling is to regiment us, to take orders and to not question.
Wow.
Right? And the unconscious mind is the opportunity to open up and explore. So going on forward to the letter R, it's for rewire, rewiring that inner dialogue. So fixed mindset, growth mindset. Fixed mindset says, I can't do this. Growth mindset says, I can't do this yet. That word yet pivots. And that's where the rewiring comes in. The minute you say, I can't do this yet, it means, there's a possibility I need to explore.
Yeah.
And E, the letter E is for expand. And it's expand because when we retire, everything starts, our sandbox gets smaller and smaller and smaller. But we've got another 20 years to go. We should be expanding, not slowing down and getting smaller. So that's essentially it. And now that's what I teach. I hope retirees, and I don't do one-to-one coaching. I avoid one-to-one. I'm not a coach per se, and I'm not a therapist. I'm a mindset mentor. So I like to have a whole group of people, anywhere from 12 to 200. I'm open to that kind of conversation because I do talking for half the time, and then I invite people to ask questions, and that's when the juices start to flow, and it's just amazing. So yeah, that's it, Matt. I think I've answered those 3 questions.
Wow, that's fantastic. Now, maybe share with us too. There's probably somebody asking, like, well, so it sounds like he lives in the UK. Sounds like he's done a lot of his career in the United States, and now he's doing this in the States as well. What's your what are the pros and cons between the UK, United States? How did you end up being a businessman in the States, being from the UK? How'd that all happen?
Whoa. Okay. It was 19. Well, first of all, quickly back to my school days. I studied American history, independence, the revolution, and fell in love with it.
Got it.
And, loved the, mind you, all these guys were Englishmen, right?
Right. Yeah.
And they created the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, and these documents just completely floored me. They were just amazing concepts. And it's, and of course, I was into American music. Back in the day, it was the Beach Boys, the Doors, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And so, yeah, I was in love with the American dream. And so I had to go to the States. And so back in 1985, when Reagan was president, it was a different planet. I went to the States and I lived there for 8 years. I have 2 daughters. They were both born in the US. And I returned to the UK because my wife is British and her parents were here. My parents were here in the UK, and we had kids, and it was very difficult and challenging on our own. So we came back, and that's what it was. But I've always had a very warm and close relationship to the United States, to Americans, and I've traveled back every year since.
Mm.
And when I started my course, 70% of my clients are in North America.
Okay.
So, I work with Americans. So I work on their time zones, mostly. And I forgot, what was the other part of the question?
Yeah, I was just wondering how you got your career started in the United States. You mentioned real estate and different things.
Oh, yes.
Why your course has gravitated towards Americans, why you have 70% of your business from North America.
Right. Back in 1985, I got involved in a commercial property in the US with my brothers, and we were running it for 35 years, but I was only involved in the first few years.
Okay.
And then I became silent partner.
Got it.
I went to NYU, studied journalism, and my career went down another path. But I always kept my interest there.
Okay.
And that's why I used to go back each year. And but on the back of that NYU journalism course, I became a writer as well. And I have 3 books, as you can see here behind me. The first one was Spirit of Gratitude, which Crises or Opportunities, which came about after that 30-day silent retreat. Mm. So that was me slowly developing my own path in life and using that to teach.
Okay.
The second one was called Dare, which is the methodology. It was actually, I created my program first and then wrote the book.
Okay.
So this was during the pandemic. And then last year, I went on around the world trip because I'd been recommending to a lot of my clients to take a gap year, not a whole year, but a sabbatical, pilgrimage, call it what you want, to get it away from where you normally are and who you are. When you travel, I think it was Mark Twain, who said travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness.
Wow.
It opens our mind.
Yep.
And so I wanted to, as a kid, I fell in love with the book Around the World in 80 Days by Jules Verne. And I thought, I have to do this. I've got to walk my talk. So I had to go and do something epic for me.
Mm-hmm.
And in the process, to also then use it to teach, which is my way of doing things.
Okay.
And so I planned this round the world trip. I went to South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, and Canada. Countries I'd never been to before. I was 69 years old, and I said, if I don't do it now, I'm never going to do it.
Sure.
And so I took the chance to do it, and thankfully I did, because if I'd done it a year later, I wouldn't have had insurance cover.
Okay.
Just goes to show you, you've got to take the opportunity when you have it. Don't postpone things like this. But for me, travel was important because it's by leaving your hometown or where you've lived for decades and you start traveling, it humbles you because you don't know the places you're going. You can't be arrogant. It forces you to be humble. And it forces you to rely on other people, to say please and thank you, which actually make you feel better. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And like in Japan, if it wasn't for Google Maps and Google Translate, I would have been in big, big trouble. But I managed to sort of create some very interesting conversations using Google Translate with Japanese people in the middle of the street, That
was probably awesome. That was probably epic, would be my guess. That's so cool.
It is. And I mean, but I think what it did was that travel, and this is what I recommend to my clients, is you don't have to travel around the world. You don't have to do what I did. That's my dream. Each of us has our own dreams, right? And your dream might be just go to the state next door.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter. It's going somewhere that's not familiar to you. And look at your life from a different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that Paulo Coelho, who wrote the book called The Alchemist, I don't know if you've heard of it.
Heard of that, yeah.
It was a book about this Spanish guy going around the Mediterranean and then coming back, and all the experiences that he had going in these North African countries and coming back. He made a lot of money, he lost money, he found love, he lost love. He went through a lot of turmoil, and he comes back to his hometown in Spain, and he is a transformed person. And he sees his town in a new light. And that's what travel does. And Paulo Coelho said, and I'll quote what he said, was, maybe the journey isn't about becoming someone. It's about unbecoming everything we are not in order to become who we were meant to be.
Wow.
And that's the power of travel when you're older, before you decide what you're going to do in this next stage of life.
Wow. Well said. Yeah, that's great. Not a famous author, but a famous, I guess you could say, American at this point is Matthew McConaughey. He wrote a book called Green Lights.
Okay.
I just saw, McConaughey. You've seen him in a movie?
Yeah, the actor.
Yeah. So
right.
Epic book. And he said that the times in his life, he's actually learned something new and he's actually grown as a person. He's always went somewhere else and he's always gone alone, actually. And he's always become a not a different person, but he's become who he's supposed to be because all of our exterior things are stripped away. So he did a journey through the Amazon, just yet. He went from tribe to tribe, found someone that could get him through tribes, and he did basically a walking multi-mile journey through Africa from village to village all by himself. And just the transformation that he went through, he says you don't have to be as crazy as he is, he says, but you have to go somewhere, go on some journeys and some quests, and you'll be a different person, just like you said.
Absolutely. And I think this is nothing new. I mean, this is, back in the Middle Ages, people went on pilgrimages,
Right.
and I mean, it was supposed to be religious, but actually
Right.
it was about spiritual experience. It's about meeting people on the journey and meeting people who've got their own life stories to tell you that will blow your mind. And so, I love the idea of taking a sabbatical and going, even to a neighboring state, right? You don't have to leave your country. You can go somewhere different, somewhere that you've never been to before.
Yeah, man, that's great. Very, very important message, and also just a very important message for seniors, because we all get stuck in our ways. But here in America, once you hit a certain point, doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on, it's about 24 hours a day of either CNN or Fox News.
But right now,
you're right, and either one, it just says it differently, but it's still death, destruction, war, fear, famine, scared, that kind of stuff. And as a senior, if you could just get out, get some fresh air, go somewhere else, get out in front of the TV, just like you said, you're going to have a whole nother mindset and a whole nother thought process. So thank you for sharing that with us. Yeah, that's
pleasure, Matt.
That's amazing. So maybe before, as we wrap up, two things: anything that we didn't ask you that we should have asked you, and then how could people connect with you?
Right. Okay. I think I like to leave people with this quote. Something that in our societies we don't like to talk about is death. Death is not something to be feared. Death is actually a friend. I know it sounds crazy. It's so counterintuitive, but the fact is that when you think about death, you realize that it can come any day, which means that each day we have is a lifetime. And if we look at each day as a lifetime, what can you pack into this? And I don't mean pack activities. I'm talking about pack kindness. Because when you're kind, you're not just kind to the other person, you're being kind to yourself.
Wow.
That kind of thinking. And recognizing that each day is a lifetime, and we can do so much with that one day, because we don't know if we've got another day coming or not. So, and I got this from not just my own personal experience, but from Benedictine monks used to say, keep death top of mind, so you can make each day count.
Wow.
So that's the thing. And in terms of getting in touch with me, or my website is georgejerjian.com.
Okay.
My social media handles are George Jerjian or Retirement Rebellion on all the social media handles. So I look forward to seeing one of you guys or your audience on my website or connecting with me.
That sounds great, George. And also, too, is people that are watching this, so they know maybe who to invite to this and who to forward. So definitely sounds like seniors, but is there a certain profession in the United States you found that gravitates towards this, whether it's financial advisors, people that work with seniors, those type of things that would be good to share this with?
Generally, I help individuals, but as groups, and the people who have the groups that would be helped by my program are financial advisors. Financial advisors have lots of clients, and they can offer their clients the opportunity for a free 1-hour webinar that I could do with them. And I would do it for the financial advisory firm to their own clients. And then they can organize how to engage with me directly or on behalf of the financial advisory firm. And the same with HR departments in corporates.
Okay.
They've got people retiring. They're prepared financially, most of them, but no one prepares them for the non-financial aspects. And that's where I come in. And again, HR departments can reach out to me. I've got the special section for them and for financial advisors to reach out to me so that I can help them provide a whole new layer of, what's the word for it? Preparation for their clients.
Okay. Gotcha. So it sounds like they've spent their whole life saving, preparing, putting a nest egg away. That's half of it, but not even half of the success of retirement. You're helping them prepare mentally for the challenges that's coming their way that they don't even know, right?
Exactly, mentally and emotionally and psychologically, because they're going into a whole new way of life, and they have no idea what's coming at them.
Right.
Forewarned, prepared. Being prepared for that is important.
Sure. And it's not like they did anything wrong or they're doing it, they're off base. It almost sounds to me, it's making me think of like being a parent. It's like, well, there's no way you could be prepared to have a child and take care of a child because you've never done it before, right? Until you've done it. Right. And you can't retire a second time, I guess you could say.
Just think of this as a Lamaze class.
There you go.
Right.
You go. That's great. So you help.
Thank you, Matt.
Man, that's fantastic. That's great. And then that's where I'm so glad that we've got connected, because some people are prepared financially. Unfortunately, most people haven't saved enough, right? It's going to be more expensive than they think. But what they did do is they bought a house and they did make all the payments, because here in America, at least, no pay, no stay, right? If you don't make your payments on your home, they don't let you stay there. And then that's where we come in, is because since they've made all their payments and they've lived there a long time, the value shot up. We can show seniors there may be a better way where they can use some of that equity. They can use some of that equity to have a better retirement, fill in those gaps, fill in those holes that may be in their financial plan. So if you can help them mentally and emotionally, we can help them financially. Our goal is to save the American senior one at a time, if that's all right.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Okay, George, that sounds great. Well, thank you for doing this, and thank you for the message that you have, and I appreciate you serving seniors so well.
My pleasure. Thank you, Matt.
Thank you, George. And thank you for watching the Serving Seniors podcast, where I highlight people like George that help seniors not just get by or not just survive, but thrive in retirement. Thanks again. We'll see you on the next episode. Have a great day. Hey, this is Matt Helton with OneTrust Home Loans, home of Retirement Mortgage Solutions. And we really do appreciate you checking out the Serving Seniors podcast today. Now, please go to the description down in the body of the podcast where you can subscribe to get future shows. Please click that notification button so you get notified when other shows drop. And also, if you can go to servingseniourspodcast.com, and we'd love to hear a comment about our show. We have a heart to serve seniors, and we have a heart to make sure seniors don't just survive retirement, don't just get by in retirement. We want to show seniors how to thrive in retirement. So if you know of anyone that's 55 and older that could use some extra cash flow, maybe the retirement's not going the way that they like, our retirement mortgage solutions are designed for folks, depending on the state, they're either 55 or 62 and older, to make sure that they have that kind of retirement that they want. As long as they own a home and they're in a good equity position, there could be some solutions that they may not have thought about, or maybe they've thought of and they just didn't know how they work. That's what we do. So anyone in that age group that could use some mortgage advice, my team and I would love to be able to help them. Thanks again, and look forward to seeing you on the next show. Have a great day.